Hello, I'm Vivienne Doogan, the President of the Queensland Public Sector Union. Today we're going to present reports on our activities for 2009. For the first time, these reports will be in a video format. They'll be available on the web and they'll also be played at the annual general meeting on Thursday the 27th. There will be 4 videos in this presentation. The first one is mine, which is about major campaigns and outcomes from those campaigns. The second one is by Kate Flanders, the Assistant General Secretary, who will talk about the Core EB and its outcomes. The third one is by Alex Scott, our General Secretary, who will talk about our growing union strength and our plans for the future. And finally, Peter Deavy, the Honorary Treasurer, will talk about the finances of the union. We started 2009 secure in the knowledge that we'd locked in wage increases for enterprise bargaining negotiations as a result of the wage balance campaign the year before. Early in the year, Anna Bligh announced a snap election, and during that election campaign, Lawrence Springborg announced that he would cut $1 billion per year for 3 years out of the public service budget. We worked this out to be equivalent to 12,000 jobs from the public sector. So what we did was to start campaigning to protect public service jobs and services. Our Fight for Jobs campaign and the Mind Jobs Necessary campaigns were part of that process, and they put public service jobs and services foremost during that election campaign. The outcome of it was that that was the key election issue during the state election. The Bligh government was elected, and then the global financial crisis hit. The global financial crisis affected the Bligh government in many ways. One of the results was that the Bligh government announced they were going to sell a number of key public assets, including motorways, ports, Queensland Rail, and Forestry Plantations Queensland. The union movement opposed this sale, and we've set up the Queensland Not for Sale campaign, which is being coordinated by the Queensland Council of Unions, and the QPSU is part of that coordinated campaign. Privatisation of public assets and public services is fundamentally opposed by the QPSU. In conjunction with the Core EB process in 2009, the government agreed to an interest-based bargaining approach to reform of key workplace policies. These included recruitment and selection directive, VERs and retrenchments, deployments, and also making some important changes to the Public Service Act. Also, as a consequence of these negotiations, key changes to employment conditions for temporary workers have been achieved. Temporary workers can now be converted to permanent status after 12 months as a temporary, whereas previously it was a 2-year period before they could be converted. The other important factor for temporary workers is that after any temporary worker has been temporary for a period of 3 years, their position must be reviewed and a decision made about whether that position is made permanent or not. The key factor here, though, is that if the conversion to permanent status is rejected, the worker has the right to take an appeal to the Public Service Commission. This is a new aspect in trying to make employment security much greater in the public service. Custodial Corrections Officers managed to finalise their agreement during 2009. The expiry date for their agreement wasn't until 2010. However, to lock in the wages increases that we'd managed to negotiate as part of the Memorandum of Understanding, they needed to have agreement reached during 2009. So the members worked very well together in putting pressure on the government to agree to their agreement having that wage increase included. The other serious win that they had was that they managed to have the 27.5% leave loading on shift workers put back into their agreement. This existed before but had been removed, and through pressure from members on the Industrial Relations Minister, they've managed to have that win. I hope you've all enjoyed receiving the annual report via video. All members can actually ask questions about either the annual report or about the video reports by emailing agm@qpsu.org.au, and we will endeavour to get responses back to you as soon as possible. Through this process, we are making the work of our union more accessible to all members throughout Queensland. In closing, there are a number of people that I would like to acknowledge and thank for the efforts that they've put in during 2009. Firstly, Alex Scott, the General Secretary of our union, must be commended for his leadership throughout 2009 and his ongoing leadership. Our union is at the forefront of campaigning in unions throughout Australia, and we should be proud of that. I'd also like to acknowledge the work of Brett McCready, who was the Assistant General Secretary for most of 2009. Brett has now moved on to become the CEO of Union Shopper, and we wish him all the best in his new role. Which also means that we want to welcome Kate Flanders, who is the newly elected Assistant General Secretary. Kate is an incredibly capable person, and I'm sure she'll bring great leadership to that role as well. I'd also like to thank all members, our wonderful delegates in the workplace, and finally, our staff. The staff are very committed to the work of this union and committed to providing great service and leadership to our members. What's important for us all to remember is that the QPSU is a very strong union. When we work together, we win, and we need to be proud of that. Thank you.